Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us on the midweek edition of Morning Spring here at Western Spring Television. Femi Ojo is my name, and of course, it gives us a great pleasure to know that you are joining us for today at this time, doing this with us, having this kind of conversation where we talk about everything in Nigeria. Sometimes we get to move beyond the shores of this nation to talk about what is happening in the world, but majorly it is about this nation, even at the subnational level as well, the federating unit, down to the local government, to the wards, to the unit, having every conversation that is necessary, compulsory toward the betterment and the better workings of this great nation. Good people, great nation, Nigeria. Thank you, and you're welcome. Tomilola, Daniel.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Very well. Good morning.
Yeah.
How are you doing this
Very
morning?
well. Very well. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. My name is Tomilola, Daniel.
Very well.
Yeah.
That's good to know that the name is still your name.
Yeah.
Okay. Until further
And
notice,
nothing
I
can
guess.
change. Oh yes.
Until further notice.
The surname. Yeah. Until further notice.
Until further notice.
Yeah.
Okay. Very well. Thank you for joining us on the program. Of course, you know we look at the headlines. That's where we look at the stories, the nitty-gritties, the headlines from our major dailies every day here on the program as well. A lot of things has been happening. Yesterday was quite a torturous one, especially at the NLC headquarters. You know, there's been this call. I think there is an invitation extended to Joe Ajero,
Yeah.
by the way, the NLC chairman, national chairman, and it is about terrorism and things that has to do with crime, by the way, to come and explain, according to the police, come and explain your side of the story, or please come forth so that we can have a conversation with you. Don't forget, last week, some personnel of the Nigerian police besieged the NLC headquarters, and at that point, people were like, "What are you doing here?" Later, the PRO of the Nigerian police, Lumi Wadejobi, clarified and said it wasn't at that point.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the NLC. That the NLC headquarters is a multi-story building that houses more than the headquarters. In fact, the office of the NLC is at the topmost level, and so they went to the third story,
in
search of something
Yeah.
that is crucial to national security. And so the fact that the police went to the headquarters, the plaza of the NLC, doesn't mean they went for the labor guys. But then you know what happens. Just like somebody coming here, okay,
saying,
might not be able to use it, but you know, possibly an office that has multiple stories with different companies and shops and outlets. And people will say is because of possibly the person that owns that particular plaza. But then they said they are doing whatever is necessary to keep the nation safe. And if they have a reason to besiege any building, they will do that in the interest of national security. Now, fast forward, they are inviting the NLC. And the NLC state, many of their state headquarters are saying, is it connected to the protest that happened? Is it connected to shutting down the mouth of the pressure group? They won't take that if their president has been invited and detained. But then the man in the eye of the storm, Joe Ajero, through his lawyer, Falano Chambers, wrote the Nigerian police to say, client, that is Joe Ajero, we attend. We come for questioning or come for this particular meeting, but it won't be today. It won't be that yesterday because he has a couple of things to do. I think August 19th has been put at the date that the man will come, to honor that particular invitation. But the state headquarters, the leaders of the NLC are more or less seeing it as a witch hunt. What is the government doing about this? And these are the issues that we are seeing at this time. But the police are saying anything that has to do with national security, they won't take it lightly because they have a mandate to keep the people safe. So you, as Tomilola, in your own building, if somebody will come, the Nigeria police will come and say, because of national security, we are coming in They don't have a warrant.
Okay, I think I
but-
was about asking that. Do you have a
because
warrant?
the PRO boss said they don't need a warrant. They don't always need a warrant.
Oh, really?
If they see a need. So if it was supposed to be, if it were you, what will you do?
Yes. Well, I will feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And knowing that someone would just barge into my
Not
privacy.
just someone, harmed men.
I'm the man, yes. And then you expect me to just keep calm. And then, yes, if you have tangible reasons to come into my my
Your
space,
space, yeah.
I don't have a problem. Just since I know I don't have a skeleton in my cupboard, so
cupboard, yeah.
definitely you are free to do what you want to do and then leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's only if you have some things under your carpet you have issues with. Well, it is not easy to have armed men. It's
Yeah.
only if I think. Maybe sometimes if you can go there without your, guns,
The arms,
the arms, the guns,
yeah, the weapons.
just go there, have dialogue with the person, and then tell, oh, you want to have a search warrant, do that, and then leave. But when you're with the guns and then you're looking
Blazing.
like,
Okay.
with hefty men, and then nah.
All right. That's part of what the police are saying to say, we will do what we have to do in as much, and we will come in any form that we have to come, in as much as about national security. A lot is happening, by the way. But then we take this quick break, and after that, we go through the papers, what the papers are for us for today. The papers are in, and I can tell you they're very interesting headline stories from all the papers that we have for you this morning. It's Morning Spring on Western Spring Television, beaming crisply clear and loud on channel 190 StarTimes ZTT, and also on our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel, all at Western Spring Television. Stay with us. All right, starting from the Guardian. The Guardian newspaper, quite detailed. Customs sport rates adoption. Customs sport rates adoption. Duty FX rate shift 100 times in 2024. Spike prices of goods by 120%. Take that again. Duty FX rate shift 100 times in 2024. Spike prices of goods by 120%. And of course, you can see a picture of a vessel, a very large vessel, having, containers, the one we call 40-foot containers, on it, on the high sea. Prices remain sticky over high FX rates, frequent changes, and uncertainty. Now, there is a figure, statistics there. Monthly average duty FX rate. In January, it was 951.941 for naira to a dollar. February, 1,303.84 naira to a dollar. March, 1,680.16 naira to a dollar. April, 1,240.18 naira to a dollar. May, 1,363.50 naira to a dollar. In June, it was 1,504.28 naira per dollar. And in July and August, 1,528.84 per dollar and 1,598.50 naira per dollar, respectively. You could see the fluctuation, in these rates, and of course, it's as a way of disrupting trade, especially on the high. By the way, that is what we are seeing at this time, as reported by The Guardian. Moving on, why environmental impact reports are failing stress test. And of course, it is a reality of what we are seeing, not just the environment. Of course, buildings, super projects, constructions are part of the environment as well. And that's why it's very important that there is a reason why environmental impact reports are failing stress test. We've seen a lot of, collapse, house collapse, the ones that have been built, the ones that are under construction, especially high-rise buildings, and we should really pay attention. Moving on, NNPC's OPEX salaries hit 2.9 trillion naira in 2023, up by 70%. NNPC's OPEX salaries 2.9 trillion in 2023, up by 70%. Don't forget the 2023 auditor report of the NNPCL is out, by the way, and we are hearing that the operational expenses, that's the OPEX, and salaries of NNPC has hit 2.9 trillion naira in 2023, and that has been up by 70%. That's a lot of money. Operational expenditure and salaries, 2.9 trillion in Nigeria. Interesting days. Don't provoke strike with handling of Ajero's invitation. NLC cautions police. Tell me, we just talked about these. NLC is saying, don't provoke us because we have activated all the state, commands, if we may use that word, state chapters rather, state chapters of the NLC to say, if something untoward happened to Joe Ajero, total indefinite action should be met, and I'm not sure that's kind of thing we should be talking about at this time. Can Nigeria as a nation afford another shutdown of the nation, withdrawal services from men of the NLC? I'm sure that should not be the situation. But then many persons will say as well, if your boss has something to say, and just like you said to me, if he has nothing to hide, let him go through the process of the law by honoring the invitation, and the NLC should not blackmail the nation and the security operatives, with strike just because your NLC, by the way, is still Nigerian, even though he occupies a very important office, that is the office of the national president of the NLC. Now, northern leaders meet over region's future. Still reading from The Guardian. Northern leaders meet over region's future. Right? Amid hardship, Bauchi distributes SUVs to 6 emirs. Interesting. Very interesting. Awkwardly interesting, by the way, because that's not something to be excited about, except for the beneficiaries. In Bauchi State, the governor has distributed SUVs to 6 emirs. All right. The question people will ask is, hope the lives of the people of Bauchi are better.
If they are, then no problem.
Yeah.
If they are smiling, you can
do whatever you want to do with your lajis, or being generous with people's patrimony, to traditional rulers. Tinubu's foreign trips cost Nigeria 2.3 billion naira in 6 months. Tinubu's foreign trips cost Nigeria 2.3 billion naira in 6 months. The question is, how has those trips benefited
what has
the
it yielded
people
so far
of Nigeria? Or is it an investment? There are statutory meetings, we know, but the rest of those trips to here and there, is it beneficial? Do we have anything to gain? Will we have anything to gain, in the coming days? For that, by the way, it's out in France as well. Americans are saying, where's our president? Your president is in France. What has he gone to do there? We are told he's on a walking visit, for whatever that one means. Okay, we wish him safe return as well, especially in his brand new jet, by the way. That's it. That will be all from the front page of The Guardian. Tomi.
All right, moving to the Punch newspaper for this morning. Producers declined sale of 460,000 BPD crude to Dangote and others. Forex shortage, domestic airlines ground 42 aircraft. Akume Edo lead local government autonomy implementation panel. And still on the Punch newspaper, we have this big banner that says NNPC report 9.3 trillion naira petrol import as queues linger. And yes, on my way down here this morning, I saw this long queue. And it was even difficult for me to even find my way here, looking at the fact that I don't have, a car yet. But I hope that this would stop soon because the price of fare is now,
even if you have a right to yourself, you still have to fuel
to fuel my car. So definitely we hope this stops soon. We hope there will be a lasting solution. To this. Petrol subsidy goes 3.3 trillion naira, and then PC incurs 1.8 trillion naira energy security cost. Port Harcourt Warri Depot to receive PMS. Task force arrests black marketers. 5 banks budget 222 billion naira for cybersecurity. One dies as Ogun hunters headers clash. That is Ogun State. 2027 APC kicks as PDP backs call for Jonathan's return. And that's all on the Punch newspaper for this morning.
You know, interesting when it has to do with politics. When I saw the news yesterday that the APC, as a party, they are kicking as the PDP possibly have been calls from the former president. I mean, for the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, to return.
Yeah.
You know, to be part of the 2027 race. And many persons will say, wait a minute. He's a Nigerian and he has only served for one term officially. The other 2 years was to complete the tenure of his former boss, the late Umaru Yar'Adua. So, what I'm doing in my party and the way I conduct my affairs, how is it supposed to be the problem of an opposition party? But, you know, it's always interesting. And possibly if this news was to be turned around and it's about the APC as well, possibly the PDP or the Labour, ABGA, SDP, whatever party might be kicking as well. But then it will be an interesting one if actually Goodluck Jonathan joins the 2027 race because he has been out of office since 2015. So if he's coming back, of course, we have seen former leaders in different countries, you know, go out of office and they make a return years later. But then it will be the prerogative of the party, you know, to conduct their primaries and give the ticket to the winner. And then the prerogative of Nigerians to choose whoever their leader will be. And that is the beauty of democracy. By the way, away from the Punch newspaper, let me go to Daily Trust. Daily Trust, very quickly. Concerns as 43 die of food poisoning in 2 weeks. That is from the front page of the Daily Trust. Concerns as 43 die of food poisoning in 2 weeks. That is a great concern, a huge one for 43 lives to have been lost to food poisoning.
Yeah.
I think in Sokoto or thereabout, was in Sokoto, yeah, a few days ago, a family of 4 or 5 was said to have died after mistakenly, you know, eating fertilizer. Then you're wondering, in what form? That particular brand of fertilizer, is it looking like rice? Is it looking like beans? What happened? What got them to that point that nobody could get a hang of, hold on, is this food? And 43 have died as a result of food poisoning in 2 weeks. We should watch it, you know, as a people, and we shouldn't allow, although it's sad, by the way, and it's tough, but we shouldn't allow the recent economy realities, you know, to push us to do or to engage or to even consider, because there are some things that will happen and food items, remnant that people should normally throw away. But because of the hardship economic reality, people will feel like, you know what, just go and warm it. And possibly, ordinarily, they won't eat that thing on a normal day. But because they want to save as much as they want to. We don't know if actually this is the case, but then 43 dying as a result of food poisoning in 2 weeks, that's really a concern. With riders saying farmers, agric workers blame hoarding, importation of substandard items. There you go, hoarding, more than necessary. Federal government warns against indiscriminate use of preservatives. That's another one, preservatives. People have been told, please cook your food very, very well.
Very well.
Yeah, and for the traders and farmers as well, because you are preserving your product or your produce, please be careful. And avoid expired products. We just said it as well. That's coming from the NMA. Avoid expired products. You know, that will be all from the front page of the Daily Trust. But before we come up, Tomi, this particular one from the NMA is saying people should avoid expired products. That's the way it should be, really. But we just talked about the harsh economic reality. How many families can have an expired toothpaste, the long one, in their household, and they know it to cost them at least around 1,000 or 1,002 or 1,500 or 2,000, depending on the brand, and we say, you know what, throw it away. Or a bread that has been at home for like 3-4 days, in which, you know, this is really not the best, it's not in the best shape, or sardine, or some of the, or milk, or meal, or you've gone to purchase it, all of a sudden, your child finds out, oh, Dad, it is expired, and you can't go back to where you got it from. How many persons can throw away 4,000 5,000, 10,000 naira, 20,000 naira worth of product. Imagine you bought a bag of rice while on transit and you got home and you saw, oh, it had expired. Will you throw a bag of rice away? In fact, that should have been the next point of action. Or with what we have now, can people afford to? That's a question that we should be asking ourselves.
Well, the question I would like to ask is, do people pay attention to expiry date?
That's one thing. That's another conversation that we should have.
Yes, that do people pay attention? I'm guilty of that as well.
Yeah,
because
you just pick things off the shelf.
You buy snacks and then once you have a bite, that's when you remember, oh, let me check. And then you notice that it's expired.
Possibly it gives you a funny taste.
So people don't pay attention to expiry date.
Really?
But only when it has to do with, maybe rice, that you can feel and see.
Yeah.
Like you said, only people who can still afford to get something else would say, okay, you know what? Put this aside, let's eat something else. But for those who are still managing,
they might want to consider. And it's injurious.
They'll just tell you, you know what, wash it very well. Add salt, cook.
And we should be careful.
Yeah, but it's sad.
Very well.
All right, on the Nation newspaper, we have just few headlines. And this says, NNPCL petrol sells for half its landing cost. And yes, I think that's all on the Nation newspaper. There are a lot of pictures, as you can see on the screen. And then we have just few headlines. So that's all on the Nation newspaper.
All right. As we round off on the front page of the Vanguard, police invitation to Ajero. We won't be silenced. NLC. All right. A lot of riders there, but they're moving away from that. 3 years on the throne. The hardest lesson I learned. Olu of worry. Just like yesterday, I remember when it was being coronated. Cost of governance, we will call 10 billion naira from COP29 expenses. That's coming from presidency. Diaspora remittances rise 130% to $553 million in July. That's coming from the CBN. And police again fail to arraign protesters, says activist Adeyanju. Hope that is not against the law, because if something has happened, these people, the protest has ended now, almost a week or 2 weeks. The protesters that have been, arrested or suspect should be arraigned. They should not just be kept in the jail or detention perpetually. A right-of-way tussle threatens Nigeria's telecom sector. And on the sporting scene, 2025 AFCON qualifiers, NFF still searching for coach as Bafana, that's the football team of South Africa, the men's team, named squad, and we have to play against them. And the Eagles doesn't have a coach, substantive coach. You can see the picture there of, I think, Austin Eguavon and another person. And PFN, that's the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria to Tinubu. Nigerians are hungry. Hastening renewed hope agenda. And on the humor side, as we round off, Mr. and Mrs., I pity men who go about having mistresses. If they die with their obsession, where do they think God will put them? Interesting. That's coming from Mrs. And Mr. replies, exactly where he put King Solomon.
Okay. That's a nice one.
How is he sure where King Solomon is? But the man doesn't matter. In as much King Solomon had different women.
Yeah, and then
he would rather be where King Solomon is. Okay, well, be careful, by the way. That will be all at this point. We'll take this quick break. When we come back, we speak to issues about this nation or Nigeria. Stay with us.